Hey everyone, Toy Habits back at you with a hot take, review, and a how-to video on the DNA Designs Fortress Maximus upgrade kit featuring the leg upgrade for Cerebros as well as the fist and cannon upgrades. Let's first start by looking at the box. The front of the box is blue with a photo of Fort Max's mug on it, but the back of the box is nicely detailed that shows the parts for this upgrade. Getting a closer look at the inside of the packaging, it comes with easy to follow instructions as well as a plastic insert for the parts, which are held securely in place. As you can see, the hands, legs, and cannons are packed together nicely. Taking these out of the package, the hand comes rolled up into a fist, but this hand has a ton of articulation in it as well as a pop-up gun that moves up and down and side to side. As you open the hand up, there are two joints for each finger, and they are also on ball joints so you can spread the hands out, as well as the thumb for ultimate articulation and posability, which was lacking in the stock hand that came with Fort Max. There is a serious amount of range of motion on these hands, and you can even spread the fingers apart. The thumb is on one joint, giving it maximum grabability, and I must say that this hand was very well tooled and constructed, as well as color matched to the figure. Here's another look at the guns, which are color matched very well to the reds on the figure, and you can also see some silver detailing. The cannons are up next, and these pieces have some cool features that allow you to move them and manipulate them to fit on Fort Max's back or front to complete that G1 look. The cannons also rotate, so you can find the exact way that you want to display them, and they also come with a surprise feature that we will see once it's on the figure. Now, the cannon is not hollow, but it's filled with a black piece of plastic that gives you the illusion that it is. And finally, we have the leg pieces for Cerebros that are also cast in that gray color with some silver detailing, so let's see how the feet come off as we start the upgrade with Cerebros. Since Fort Max is a headmaster, Cerebros turns into his head, and for this upgrade we will be removing his feet, but before we do that, let's take a closer look at them. Cerebros came with black feet, and to get him closer to that G1 version, we will be replacing his feet with the gray version, so let's see how that's done. For this step, you will need a screwdriver as the feet are locked in with two screws. Luckily, the screws come out very easily and you don't have to apply a ton of pressure to get them out. And once the screws are out, you simply pry the feet apart, and you can see that the feet are also held in by a peg that you have to wrestle with to pop it off, but once it's off, this will allow you to attach the upgraded parts. Now that the foot is off, you can take the upgraded foot and start to prep it for assembly by moving the toe and heel pieces down, which will allow you to open it to reveal the inside pin that you will need to remove with your fingers by grabbing onto it and twisting it loose. Now we can securely attach the foot to the knee using this pin, so take the foot and attach it to the space where the other foot was, then find that pin and place it on the inside. It fits very snugly and goes in smoothly with the push of your thumb. After the pin is in place, you can close the legs, and this will complete this step in the process, and here is how it looks on the figure. I'm going to speed up time here, so you need to repeat the steps I just talked about for the other foot piece, so just follow the same process. Since we won't be using the screws, I would suggest screwing them back into the foot they came from so you don't lose them. Now that both feet are on, let's take one more final look at Cerebros before we transform him into Fort Max's head. Here is another look at the silver detailing on both feet, which help complete that G1 look and feel to the figure. Once the feet are attached, we can start transforming the figure, so the first step in the process is opening up the inside thigh area by pushing this piece up, which allows you to rotate it around. Then you will want to move the toe and heel pieces up, then rotate the small piece on the heel so it's flush with the plastic, then rotate the entire piece again so you can see the heel take on this form like you see here with the grooves in the front. If we flip the figure upside down and around, you can begin to see the Fort Max head take shape, and you will want to bring that leg piece that you just transformed down, but first you need to move the arms out of the way, so best to do this on the right and left side in preparation for the full transformation. Once those are in position, you can start to bring that leg piece down, and you can see here that the feet have a space for a tab to mate into. And now that you can see where we're going, you can fully bring down the leg and tab it in, and you'll have to push in all the pieces so they sit right. And here is how the head looks thus far. I'm going to speed up time here as you repeat the same process as I just described for the other leg, as it is exactly the same method. You manipulate the thighs, the toes, and the heel in the same manner, and it has that same tab on the other side, so you bring down the leg and tab it into the side of the head and manipulate the heel and toe pieces and squish everything together to form his head. I forgot to mention this before, but my Fort Max has the repro labels from Toy Hack, so yours might look a little different than mine, but here is how the head looks fully transformed, and I'm really happy with the way that this turned out. You can see that some of the pieces might take some finagling to get into place, but these new legs really give the figure a totally different G1 inspired look. The grays match really well with the base color of the head, and completely removing the black from the head gives it a cleaner look that is also more aerodynamic. So let's pop the head back onto Fort Max and take a look at a before and after shot. I totally forgot to take a photo before removing the legs, but here is what the head looks like before, and comparing that to the new head sculpt, it definitely looks a lot cleaner and more like the G1 Fort Max. Let's move on to the cannon placement, and there is an option to place them on his back or connect them to the front. It comes with an attachment that has a groove and a clip, so you can place the cannons on his back. This piece is very easy to put on and does not require any screws, so to facilitate the demonstration, I am removing this piece so we can take a closer look on how this goes on. It simply attaches to the piece via a groove, and a tab secures it into position, and you can see the two holes on the other side of the cannon that will mate into it, and it very easily pops into those holes. Once you get it lined up, you can just pop it in and the cannon can rest on that back piece. It also has quite a bit of range of motion, so you can place it however you like. Let's get his back piece back onto Fort Max, and as this comes into place, you can see how the cannon is displayed this way, but I actually prefer to display his cannons on the front, so let's take a closer look at that process. Placing the cannons in front is just as easy, and what you will need to do is pop that tab piece off, and you will immediately notice two holes that will mate into the side of Fort Max as shown here. As we rotate this around, the cannons easily pop into those holes on the side, and once you get them lined up, you can then rotate the cannon to the front, which covers that circular silver fan. And as I alluded to earlier, I was saving this feature for last, but the front cannons also extend to give Fort Max a much cooler look. You repeat the process on the other side to complete that G1 inspired look that is lacking with the stock figure. These cannons give Fort Max a totally different look, and I absolutely love how they look in the front. And finally, let's complete this upgrade by removing the hands, but first let's see what the stock hands look like. I was very disappointed with the stock hands as they have very limited articulation and range of motion. The fingers have one joint where they connect to the hand, which limits its grabbability, if that's even a word, but I will show you later why this is so important. To remove Fort Max's hand, you will need to locate the screws on his forearm, so you will have to rotate this piece around. There are 4 screws on his right forearm that you will need to remove that are located here, so get your screwdriver ready. The screws are fairly easy to remove, but there is a very deep-setted screw on the bottom right, and I needed another screwdriver to tackle this one. In fact, I went through several screwdrivers to find the right one, but I wanted to show you the issue I was running into. For some reason, the tip of the thinner screwdrivers were such a fine point that the teeth on the head of the screwdriver would not grab the screw, so be careful removing these screws as you don't want to strip them. Now that I've located the right screwdriver, we can remove that pesky screw pretty quickly and take a peek under the hood of the forearm to see how the hand attaches to the wrist. So just pry those 2 pieces off and they come off very easily. The hard part is getting the screws off, and you can see that the hand rests in a groove on the wrist, which is very easy to remove. Out with the old and in with the new. Let's put that new hand on, which is very straightforward as it just rests in the same groove where the old hand was. Then all you need to do is just put back the forearm piece and put the screws back in. Once the final screw is in place, we can turn the hand around and get a closer look. So rotate that arm back around so it's oriented the right way, and we can see what it actually looks like on the figure, and it looks amazing. The guns on the top of the wrist can pop out, and you can manipulate the articulated fingers every which way you can. Like the other colors on these parts, they did a great job color matching the blues and the reds to this figure. Moving on to the left hand, there are actually 5 screws in this forearm, which took me by surprise, and the 5th screw is located in the top middle of the forearm here, so just make a note. When the screws are off, you pry the forearm apart just like the right arm, and it goes on the exact same way, so just slot that hand in the groove and pop that forearm piece back on and you are good to go. I was so thrilled with the super articulated nature of the hands because I am obsessed with crossing over the Mobile Armored Strike Command toy line from the 80s with these giant transformers, as they look so cool with the scale of these figures. And to be honest, it reminds me of Spike and his dad from the Transformers cartoon, as it's fun to have these figures juxtaposed with each other. Now that all the pieces are on, we can get a look at how everything looks together. And I am really obsessed with the hands, as you can manipulate them in so many ways. I get a sense that he could take up piano with the way that his fingers move, but that would be a rather large piano. The addition of the pop-out guns on the hands are a real bonus, as it just increases the playability and posability of Fort Max. You can get a better feel for how well the color matching is on the entire figure as a whole, as the blues, reds, and grays just blend in so seamlessly. With that, thanks for tuning in, and please let us know your thoughts in the comments section below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.